You know what, guys? I see myself as a bit of an optimist, if I'm honest. And I'm hearing all of this stuff on the internet about Gen Z has it harder than ever. I am a Gen Z adult. I'm turning 22 in 2025. So I understand a lot of the challenges that we face. I'm not going to lie about them either. We do have a lot of challenges in our generation. But at the same time, we have a lot of advantages. And whilst we could spend as much time as we like talking about all of the problems that we have to deal with, that's not going to help us to move forwards as a generation, as a society, as individuals, right? Let's focus on a different angle, and an angle that perhaps people would not have displayed to you in other videos. I don't know if this video is going to go down well with my Gen Z audience. I don't know if it's going to be for my older viewers. I want to have a discussion with you guys openly here, though, and share a few of my thoughts and opinions. I'm just kind of brainstorming a concept here. So, our generation has a lot of challenges that we face. We have job insecurity in a lot of markets. We have degrees that a lot of the time aren't worth very much. We have older people who think they know about how to deal with this new age when everything is different. They grew up in a time before the internet and a time where job security was different. They've now got 20 years of work experience, which gives them a number of special opportunities. We have high rents. We have, in the UK at least, quite high taxes. We have a number of social, economic challenges that I've spoken about before. You know, this channel is me sharing my thoughts and opinions nowadays, so there are a lot of problems in our time. I'm not going to say otherwise. Now, we could talk about the social element, and that's, I suppose, a tier to itself. But I want to speak specifically about the financial element, the element of what you might call success. Now, every generation throughout time has had its challenges and its massive, I guess you could say, wins or easy parts. Let's focus on some generations from the past. So you might say that boomers, had access to cheap housing, and that is true, but they also had certain expectations that were required from their jobs. For instance, I know all of my grandparents, or both of my male grandparents, I should say, worked in physical jobs, hard jobs, which would have, or have, you could say, impacted them lifelong. So that's just one example. We could go on about a number of different social and economic factors of every generation, but that's just one thing. And go back a generation or two before that, and people were fighting in real wars. So I don't say this to downplay the context of our issues, but I am saying this for a bit of context, that being the key word. Every generation has had its problems and its massive wins. Our generation might seem like it has a lot of specific and extra challenges, and of course it does. We are one of the first, probably the first adult generation to realistically fully adopt to integration with the internet, and now AI, which is going to make a whole different world of challenges and opportunities, but challenges. So we are in a unique position, as every generation kind of is, but we are, of course, and it's a new world. What do we have, though, that other generations never had? Positive. I'm not going to list a number of factors that we are all aware of. I'm not going to speak about this in the most plain terms possible. But what I am going to say is this. The reason why I think, just personally, I'm 21. I've said this at the start of the video. I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing my opinion. But the reason why I think a lot of people in our generation are kind of doomed is because they're working towards a system that doesn't really exist that well anymore. The power nowadays is not in a 9-to-5 job. Look at layoffs in big companies all over the place. Say what you want, but if you want to make some money short term, a 9-to-5 might be your best, most stable option. True. If you need to feed your family, it's a good idea as well. At the same time, if we talk about building long-term wealth, look at pay versus the cost of housing. Look at all of these different factors. And I know some people will speak about specific factors where you can get a good job in this field. Look, I'm just sharing general information. So we have a lot of challenges, right? But what do we have that we can use that no other generation could? Well, I suppose for the boomers, the example might be relatively cheap housing and stable jobs and mass access to jobs. What we have is mass access to the internet. Think about this, guys. Skills, business, remote work are all our advantages. I could speak about loads. I'm probably going to edit this video or upload this video and think about a load more, but I'll give an example as to how these work to our advantages. So, for me, for example, I'm 21. I am a full-time business owner. Can you name a point at any point before the internet where someone who came from a poor background, not affluent, not particularly well educated, was able to become a full-time business owner at age 21 before the internet. Go back to even a generation or two ago, that couldn't happen. Then we've got people who are 21, 22, maybe even younger than that year old, self-made millionaires, and they are genuinely self-made. Again, could that have happened at any point before the internet? Now, I don't think it could. And of course, that's not the reality for the average person, but then bring some of the other factors in that we spoke about. Remote work gives you the opportunity to move abroad to a cheaper place if you wish to. You don't have to, of course. It gives you the access, online does, to upskilling. You can gain more skills, gain more knowledge. That's power. And I could go on for loads of different points. But my point is this. Of course, every generation is going to have its struggle, and ours is going to be no different. For us, though, what do we have? We have access to a very, very powerful tool. If you want to become rich in any generation, it's never been easier. To become average, I would say, has probably never been harder. Let's be honest. If you want to be a middle-class person now, good luck finding a job that pays well, good luck finding career progression, all of these different things. I'm not saying it can't be done. I know some people are going to say, well, I know of a job. Yeah, of course, it can be done quite easily. But it was harder. It is harder now than it might have been a generation or two ago. Look at the price of housing, for example, in contrast to wages, again. So, unique benefits and drawbacks, of course. But what I'm saying here is, if you want to become above average, exceptional, you can do this now easier than ever. You can become a content creator. You can become... I can speak about a number of jobs. I can speak about the things that I do for obvious reasons. And then there's way more. You can educate yourself on anything in the world. This is a great opportunity that was not present a generation or so ago. You have access to global finance, global business. Now, whether you choose to utilize that or not is, of course, a choice. It's a choice. And is it usable for everybody? No. But if you have a sentient and powerful enough brain, access to the internet, which I know you do because you're obviously watching this video right now, and so on, it's not hard to start researching ideas. Why is life then so hard for our Gen Z adults? Well, could it be the fact that they are living and looking to live in the wrong ways? As we just spoke about, the ways of the old, the ways of a 9-to-5 and stable jobs are not looking so good anymore. And with that being a bit of a point, we need to adopt to the modern way of working, the modern way of living. And increasingly, the internet's going to come useful to that. Like I say, if we're talking about getting rich, there's probably never been a time in history where it's been easier. And I'm not saying it's easy. Of course it's hard. But in a way, that's kind of the value to it. So in summary, whilst we could talk about all of the negative points of being born in this generation or this and that, let's also look at the positives, right? Because we have advantages and opportunities that we don't even look to. We don't even look towards using them. Let's have a think about this a bit more. Let's use them a bit more. And let's think logically about what we can do to make our generation the most prosperous in history. Thank you, guys. I hope I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.